Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, November 10th Park and Recreation Commission meeting here at the Rosemary Recreation Complex. It is now 7:01. We do have a quorum, meaning we actually have all 5 commissioners here tonight. So thank everybody for making it, even with the torrential rains that we have going on right now. As we do, we just follow really the agenda of how we go. And so looking at it, open forum of public comments, that we do have some people online. We do not have anybody in the multipurpose room here at the complex. If there's any open forum or public comments by anybody, to raise their hands, please. If you do have a public comment, I'll wait a few moments to see if anybody. Okay, meeting guests, we do not have any guests here as of right now, but if someone does check in, we'll see what we can do. Now we will go into our third item on the agenda, being the director's report. So now I'll hand it over to Stacy and Hannah. That looks so nice on a shared table.
Thank you. Just give me one
Give it a
second.
moment.
For some reason, my meeting packet is not showing up. Here we go. Now I can share it. Yeah. See. Here we go.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Floor is yours.
Right. So for the director's report,
It's a good picture.
yes, it is. This was at our fall family festival day.
Nice.
This is part of our staff, both part-time and full-time staff. These guys were over at Greens most of the time. It was a very successful event, but we'll get there. Our program numbers, some of our programs have already ended. That's how far we are into the fall. Did I cut off the totals again?
Is that Dylan McFarland?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Just curious.
Is that Chris Burnham?
Yes. And then we have a few more pictures. That indeed is not Sunita Williams, but our very own Heidi Frail, dressed up as Sunita Williams. This is at our pumpkin decorating.
I like how you put a tarp down under the pumpkins.
Oh, yes. The amount of ink that just, it's impressive. So our events, the Spooky Walk and Pumpkin Decorating did a great job. Our puzzle leagues are continuing to fill. It cracks me up. We max out at those puzzle leagues every single week, month.
But like last minute, like, isn't like slow and then all of a sudden,
We usually get 7 or 8 fast,
okay,
and then the last 2 kind of come on the last week, so.
yeah.
Are you seeing the same groups of people in the puzzle groups?
It is a whole thing. It is a thing. We have a group that has matching t-shirts.
Like it.
Yeah. It's intense.
They're cool.
Our vacation camp is already full. We might be able to wiggle a few more days, single days out there, but our full week is full. Here we go. Nice picture of our commissioner there.
Nice.
Literally took that from my high school daughter as I was walking out the door.
Yep.
That's so funny.
And
Uh,
that is actually the person next to me. That's Emma Bagnell. She, you know Emma, right? She helps run a lot of the road races and everything in town,
I
so.
was like, what is that name?
Are you supposed to be a traffic?
Yes,
Lovely.
yes.
Send
So
I like
again, it
it.
was made for a teenage or high school girl, not
Yes.
a
Yeah.
man to be wearing it, so.
Financial information, this is the time where we don't get a ton of registrations because we are dwindling down and our new brochure has not gone out yet, but we are on track ideally to post the brochure by Thanksgiving and then have registration the following week for that's our winter programs and some spring programs. Most of the registration numbers you see now are just for events, kids night out, that kind of thing. There's Hannah and Nikki.
Those hats went really quickly.
So fast.
Yes, people love the hats.
I'm a great salesperson.
We have had them for, anyway.
We were giving them away.
Exactly, yes. Registration numbers for over the course of the year since January 1 is 5638, and our revenue is, just under $1 million. I imagine at this point, we've already hit 1 million, because we are now getting, sorry. Nikki has done the field invoicing for our field users, so we're now getting, checks coming in and not coming in, here and there, so. Nikki's on top of that for the fall, and she's also collected some stuff for like the back.
Stacy, do you have any idea what that number was for last year?
This one right here?
It's 904,000. You know what that was last year?
No, but Hannah can pull it up really quick.
Just curious how we're doing compared to
Will
last
you
year.
do these dates for 24?
Or even what we had for the full year. Yeah.
Okay,
You don't have to
Just do-
actually have exact dates, but I'm just curious what, how we're doing.
and then most important for the director's report is our commissioner spotlight. As you know, we've been flip-flopping. Last week was an employee.
Hello.
This
Might
week
wanna
is a
give people a
commission-
minute to read it.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you need, let me know if I can make it bigger.
21 years?
Yeah, is that
21?
I thought it was like only like 16 or 17,
That's
21 years.
Apparently, yeah,
22.
2004.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm proud of it or not. I don't know. Me, I guess.
I will tell you, I 100% disagree with Dunkin' Donuts being the best coffee shop, but.
Now, I say that I go for the donuts.
Yeah, I knew
You know, I,
You did, you did.
yeah.
We are in the same unison that Sweet Basil, I have never eaten there.
Oh,
I've
I have.
only gotten to go food.
So we haven't, but we most.
You've
never
I've never eaten at there. We always get it to go.
Yes, we are getting to go to.
So-
Way back, but now we just get to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got
A
it.
huge portion.
Huge portion, right?
So-
We have a bag of bread.
Obviously, this is a picture of Cindy's family, but in the bottom
Yes.
left is a picture of Cindy,
Wow.
Patty, and
Dave DeChico.
Dave Chico.
Great.
That was at the construction.
That's that's the old pool behind them. So
That is.
That is very, very cool. Is there anything you want to highlight, Commissioner?
I think it speaks for itself, but thank you. That's all.
This is a nice football song, get you pumped up. I love it. I love it. That's
I
great.
would say I like it. It's my husband, crazy, because it's loud. You can get rid of that.
So the field maintenance survey link is still in here. You guys had that last week. And the diamond information, which I just got an update. Last week when I was away. Cindy, the answer to your question is we had just under 7,500 registrations and $985,000 for
Okay.
2024.
Okay,
So,
so it's same ballpark.
Right
maybe a
around the
little
ball,
better
same
than
ball.
that. Okay, thank you, Jen.
so yeah, we should hit higher than that ideally. Let me see if I can pull up the spreadsheet so you guys can see it. So Eddie and Mike Malvazo, Mike is Eddie's assistant superintendent of Parks and Forestry. And I will send this to all of you guys again because it's more updated and there's no way we can dig through it right now. But basically, here's the code. This year to renovate, recent renovation, in need of renovation and needs an engineered rebuild. So he basically did like we did the playgrounds. And then outlined the year that we have done it before and whether or not the fields are irrigated. So I can forward this to you guys now that I have it. I just opened it today because I was away last week. But it goes through all of our diamonds. This does not touch our rectangle grass fields or turf fields, just the diamonds.
And also, one of the things we'll notice on there is that Elliott, we're not gonna put any money into that right now because of the project that we have coming
Nope,
up.
it says right there, summer 2026. So right now, we've already asked, we'll be asking town meeting for construction funds for the Elliott school renovations, outdoor renovations, not the school. That's something.
So do we need this information to answer your question about the maintenance? For the diamonds?
You might need this information.
Mhm.
It doesn't cover financial.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't kind of cover how much money we spend,
That's a little hard to read on that. movie.
like this,
Yeah,
is it too hard if
Even though it's
I?
a big screen and everything.
So that's why I will send it to you,
Okay.
and you may want to, but it does explain, he did write in notes, so what they did. There's no financial number to attached to it. It does explain. there's a lot of information in here. I
Right,
haven't
we
really
can
been able
see
to dig
the
it down.
current conditions
Yep.
and, okay.
So that will be, I'll update the link so you guys have that, and this is just for 24 and 25 what they did, unless there was a renovation recently, so,
And what is engineered or native? What is native?
you know? Well, I'm gonna have to look into that, cause I don't.
Now, does anyone else know what that means? Engineered or
Nope.
native versus out of baseball?
No, I think it's more on Eddie's side of like.
I think it just
engineered or
means something in
Like the
his,
lands?
like something that
Like,
he calls native, I just don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think
So-
those are his words, so I don't know what it means.
I
Yeah,
would assume like, all right, so if you see native for Broad Meadow Diamond number 2, that is something that probably gets just a once and done. And then is in touch throughout the rest of the year because it's on a school property, so if you put any money into it, it's just gonna get used by the kids, and I don't wanna say destroyed. But destroyed compared to like a small or Mills, which is not on a school property, where they're putting more time and money and effort into it, because it is one of the more premier fields, so
well,
it's
and it
kind of,
gets more usage.
yeah, it gets more usage, so.
So that is it for the director's report.
Okay. The other attachment you have after that,
Let me share. The town field maintenance.
I know what I see is the Needham Park and Recreation Department user fees.
So we
As well,
started
pops up
talking
after
about
that.
this last meeting about, or at some point about. We had proposed fees to increase for 2027. One of the things that we have struggled with, and when I mean we, it's been mostly Woo. He has spent more time this fall. Asking people to leave fields that they don't have permits for.
Mhm.
Because on paper, they're already permitted, however, they're not being used. I don't have a percentage, I can tell you, every time I drive through town, in the evenings or on the weekends, there is at least one field in town not being used, even though. As far as our paperwork goes, every field in town, whether it's for school or us, is permitted from 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, every single field. And yet, I'm sure you guys drive around all the time and Prickett's empty, or Memorial, the synthetic diamond isn't being
Yep.
used, or whatever it is. And unfortunately, the person that, I mean, we get people that are upset with us for not being able to permit space. But we don't have to go up to people in person and ask them to leave. For a permit that nobody else is using.
Mhm.
Now. Hopefully that will change, because a lot of them were for a particular user group that have now understands what they're gonna do moving forward. But when we go to get those extra permits for the fall,
Mhm.
that means that other people are going to potentially be upset for losing time, because there's only as much time as
Mhm.
there is. But I can't I don't have like a spreadsheet or data of when they're not actually being used. We don't have the stat for that.
Mhm.
My suggestion is to, and you guys should deliberate, is to start charging per hour sooner. Because I think he has gotten in a few altercations, unfortunately. He has had to call the police a few times. He has to call the police all the time for dog people, but that's different. But it has become. Yeah, people won't get out, or they get in
Take
this
us
phase.
through what his process is, like, if he sees a group on the field, does he look at a list and
Yep.
say, gee, they're
Mhm.
So
playing
he
field
has-
hockey, but this permit time is soccer, is that what he goes through? So he
Yeah,
looks
so
at who's
he-
coming in.
Yes, he has access to our full permits and when they're updated. If it's not on the permit, he almost always texts one of us and
Mm.
says, hey, there's a group here. Are they supposed to be here? Cause sometimes we just forget and we're like, oh, yep, they're fine, sorry. If he knows, like, if it's personal training, he'll just go pick the people
Right,
up.
so some people are obvious,
Yeah.
right? It's
Right.
obvious,
But no, he
okay,
always
cross
checks,
group, but, you know.
and you know, when our flag football people were kind of all over the place, because they were trying to get in practice time, he was like, what about this group? What should I still, like, every week, he
Yeah.
was asking us, do I still kick these people off? Or ask them to leave? I said, yep, they don't have a permit, And he was like, but they're saying there's nobody using it. And I was like, I understand. It's frustrating, but
Right,
It
right,
does
that's a hard sell, if
all-
no one's using it and they
Yeah.
want to
Right.
practice here and I.
and it
I don't
does,
know
at
if
the end of the day, fall to him to deal with it. And sometimes, and often what Wu finds, and it's more with the personal training, but he'll like find them on Cricket and send them away, and then he'll find them on Newman. The same people like 20 minutes later, so, he has figured out where these people prefer to go, and so he's been able to handle that, but. This is part of his job, but it shouldn't be so much of his job for the same thing over and over.
They shouldn't be adversarial, they shouldn't have to call the police,
Right,
and you shouldn't
right.
have to deal with.
And now he's got a new
Groups.
truck with his park ranger on it. Have you seen it?
Oh, it is.
Oh,
yes. Look at it.
And he
It's
has-
got a CV and lights and everything.
Yep, got a pickup truck. It says park ranger right on the side.
Love it.
So
What color
that
is it?
could help.
White.
White.
I feel like if there's repeat offenders, like the same user groups, they should be charged or something, like that's ridiculous.
I can't. That means that's,
More work for you guys.
but it would be inequitable. If I notice that I go to Needham every Sunday at 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
and you're not using your fields, well, somebody that's not using their fields on Thursday, I'm not noticing.
Yeah,
Because I don't
yeah.
have the time to go there.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
we either have to do it for everyone or
Yeah.
nobody. And so
Yeah.
I try not to drive through town.
Well, I think it's right, I
maybe changing the permitting, I mean, this would be a longer conversation and something we have to definitely think and talk about, but. Maybe change the permitting per hour base versus. I mean, like a per hour fee versus a season fee.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what she's.
No,
Oh.
I'm proposing adding a per hour.
so you're having a user fee plus.
Well,
Well, because I think like. I'm trying to figure out, and I haven't figured out, and neither of my colleagues, like what's most equitable, because. I don't wanna gouge a very small group that is just starting, getting their feet underneath them versus, but. I also don't think it's fair for soccer to carry the weight of everybody because they happen to be the biggest users. And you can put a lot more people on a soccer field than you can on a baseball field, like it just by the nature of the sport. So if we did just say like, you're booking this field per hour, you can put 300 kids on
Sure.
that field.
Mhm.
yeah,
But if you're booking Mills for an hour, you can at most put 22 kids on that field, like there's no, if that's not.
but it is frustrating, when you
So-
drive by a field and it's not being
Yes,
used.
and I don't pretend to have the right answer, I just think we have to do something, I don't expect it to happen in January.
No,
There's not
no.
a chance we can do that to the youth groups, that wouldn't be fair. I would, if at all possible. Start adding in a nominal fee in the fall and then have the real fee happen in January, I don't know what those fees are. I can tell you that this is not, Hannah's going to like a webinar with Rhode Island Park and Rec in a couple weeks, because they're trying to figure it out the same way, block scheduling, use like, however it is, it's not. Without having somebody on the field all the time, staff member, there's no way to keep track of what's happening.
But his job needs to be doable. He needs to
Yeah,
be able
he
to
can,
do
yeah.
his
And,
job.
you know,
We need to
we
figure out a
spend-
system that works for him.
I think collectively, a large part of my job, well, it used to be, now I hand it over to Hannah, is fields.
Mhm.
Fields, it's dealing with user groups, it's dealing with the lights, it's dealing with cancellations. It feels like
It's a lot.
it's a lot and
Mhm.
it feels heavy, and like my phone continues to ring at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, like, hey, can you turn the lights on or off or whatever it is. Regardless of how we make it go, and because, I mean, I got a call, was it Friday night, there was a soccer game, right?
Yeah, double header.
Yep. And I got a call at 7:25, said, can you turn the lights on? It's dark, the lights aren't on. Well, it was scheduled for 7:30. Because that's what they scheduled them for.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna reach back out to all the user groups and be like, hey, I know you said 7:30, but it gets dark at 4:30, so
Mhm.
what time do you want the lights on? Because we don't have that kind of personnel to
You
go
have the
back and check
There's
this.
access to the lights remotely, just you
To
two,
turn them on or turn them off.
both,
The only people that can turn them on or schedule them are us,
okay,
my department, and Ryan Madden and Bella.
okay,
I don't know Bella's last name, but
okay,
they can schedule their own stuff.
yeah,
Every user group should have a person that can turn off the lights. we have talked to Musco, and you have to call Musco and say, can you turn the lights off? You have to be the owner of the permit and know your password to do that. So you can't, like, you couldn't call and turn the lights off on football because you're not the person that's associated with football.
Got it.
So you would be like, hi, you would be, hi, I'm Dina, I would like to turn the field lights
Right.
off at Founders for field hockey, this is
Yeah.
my pastime.
Yeah,
We can do on and off remotely, we can schedule, but we schedule ahead of time, because we
Right.
ask people to schedule them.
The other thing that people have access to is they're able to log into the website and view the current schedule. So like, if there's something that you're not seeing that you have, then it's most likely that you didn't put a light request
Right.
in and, or it's missed, which is it totally happens. but
Sure.
It does give that capability of like beforehand, and like Stacy said, you do have the capability to call Musco. And that's what we've been instructing people to do. And we are available for emergencies
right.
more.
I mean, but that means the two of yours quality of life is now going down the drain because your phone's constantly ringing on a Friday night and at certain
know, we-
times.
To be fair
In
though,
my life.
the,
Just, that should be
Very fair to you.
in an emergency kind of basis, yeah, hey, like what was it? The
In
lights went off on
season,
Memorial?
I don't-
No, it did. It's.
First of all, Ryan Madden should be getting calls for anything. You should not be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
should.
Like, he
Agreed.
went down, there's no.
No, let me
there's
tell
no
you,
way,
it
like,
was
that's
a person,
unacceptable.
was a spectator that reached out to me and said, can you turn the lights
You're like,
on?
wait.
And I
how
was
could they
like,
be- Like, there has to be. some
They're on
sort
at
of-
7:30.
Yeah,
These are, Ryan had them scheduled.
I think
So,
Gary is,
I don't call
is
that.
on this. Gary is on this. Yeah.
Definitely should.
Hang on, for those of you that are online, I'm muting everybody because we're getting a lot of background noise. If you have a question, please use the raise your hand feature and then. When there is time, the commissioner will take questions, but we don't usually take them towards the end because we had our question and answer time at the beginning of the meeting, so. But if you do have a question, you can then type it into the questions or you can raise your hand.
So.
I'm gonna break.
Whatever
Can I
you
say
do.
Really, before I forget this thought,
Yes, please, let
before
her-
I forget this thought. I think we should, like, not meet, but I definitely think the user fee thing is something we have to revisit, because I think you're right, I think that's not fair to Woo. It's not fair to, you guys, and also, you're right, it has to be equitable. If one group has a lot of people, one group doesn't, but they're paying the same, that's not fair either, so. I think this is something that should be a priority on our
Well, and I think
agenda.
my thoughts are the best way to do it is everybody pays the same fee per person. And then you pay for the amount of time you use.
Agree,
And so it's a little bit of both. I'm not saying we're charging $200 an hour, I'm not saying that at all, I think it would be a reasonable fee, but. That's the best way I can think of things, because it's also putting, like. No people in the public can ever use the field, no new groups can
Yeah.
use the field.
Yes, we need to.
According to our
Sensitive to, right.
fields, we don't have any open space at all.
So you have to think about public, so when you think about flag football, who do you think should know better?
Yes.
But their argument is, well, we see an open field, we have a group of small kids, it's mostly little kids, right? So why can't we use it to practice? And our comeback is, well, you don't have a permit and we need to know who's on our field, so well, we're flag football, you know who we are, you know we have insurance. So I think we need to have a compelling reason that they should comply.
Well, if they,
With
right,
our rules, and I don't think that we've made that case as a commission, we haven't made that case very well. Because I'm hearing from some people, and you know who they are, well, there's an open field, why can't you use it out, the field's for the kids?
yes,
they
but
are,
everybody else that are
but-
using the fields are paying the fee to use the field, so why wouldn't they? be?
Right, and the line between an organized group and a pickup game sometimes gets a little blurry, right? And I made that point, listen, you're an organization, like, well, we're just a group, like, you have shirts? Yes, okay, you have a shirt, okay, like, sure, you're leaning towards an organization, right? That's my first thing, you have equipment, yeah, well,
Well, and if somebody got
But-
injured and they didn't have a permit for the field, how are we supposed to know?
right,
Who
so
they
the
belong
town
to.
wants to know, and it's not And it's not just a pickup game, so don't, you know, and it's disingenuous of someone to say like, well, the fields are there and, you know, a former commissioner said kids should be able to use the fields. Okay, well, if he was here today, he would not be happy with what he's doing, so
Right.
let's just remember that.
Well, in order to be insured, like I know this for a fact too, you have to state with the addresses of where you're using. So like, if God forbid, they, whoever goes to a field because it's open, they don't have a permit, somebody gets hurt. Their insurance may not cover it because it wasn't
Mhm.
listed as a location, so
They also,
that's a liability.
they have the right to request our permits too, and see like
Mhm.
technically who was
Yeah.
granted that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened before, so.
Right, but I just think we need to be sensitive to the public, and we need to make some compelling reasons for that.
Well, I think we
mean,
should
know
be
they-
more transparent and be like, this is what your fee goes to, this is why, this is what the town has asked us, this is what town management wants. So it's not just like, we're not stopping
We
kids
need
from
to-
being.
we need to make a point of this at the field sometime.
Yep.
I know we have a date, we have it scheduled, but it needs to be a big point
Right.
that you can't just use the fields.
I agree.
No, I mean, and we've said it before too, is that the blanket scheduling, it could be some groups are just being, you know, greedy, but other groups are doing it because of exactly what happened tonight. It rained tonight. So if you had a scheduled game tonight, you wouldn't be able to play because the fields are underwater. That say you're supposed to play Tuesday, we can't do it because you don't have the permit for that. So it's one of those things that they've gotta take the good and the bad of doing it. That, yeah, I think they're holding it for a rainy day, but
Pay for it.
it is awkward at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon when you don't see anybody on a
Right.
beautiful day on the fields, and it's like,
The need for the amount of rainouts
Mhm.
has dropped.
fine.
You gotta
Because
have it
of,
Friday here.
so when you have a dry year, when you have a wet year, it goes back up, and I think. As a whole, I think the user groups as a whole have to work together for those rainouts and work with each other and reach out to us and say. Hey, we're getting rained out, do you have anything the rest of the week? Because if they didn't blanket it, we should have spots for them to fill in.
Right.
So
So
Casey, what do you need from us? What do you need?
I think. I don't, I mean, I don't
Nothing
think anything
tonight.
today, right, I
Okay.
think we need, we need to decide. Are we going to invoke a per hour fee? What is it and when, and are we gonna do it tiered in the falls for that one season, or are we gonna start January 27? Cause I don't think it's fair to start for the spring
Oh,
of
no.
26. I think that's.
I have a question after you.
Oh, I go first?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right, my hand was up first. The only thing that I would like to bring up is that most youth programs. Are booked like 6 to 9, 6 to 8 if you're lucky, so
Yeah.
the 4 hour time block might be a little wonky with some, but it's gonna cover a little bit.
I would go
Of-
back to the hourly rate.
Okay.
Like, when I was using that, that was a thing that we had already had for, field
Right,
usage.
yeah, special event.
But I think we just do an hourly
Yeah.
rate, cause I think they're all over the place, and I think it
Yeah.
depends, like. You know, what if the high school rolls into an evening and instead of a 3 hour block, you now have a 2 hour block, and. With this pilot project, wherever it goes, the chances of the high school playing later is going to be very high.
Yep.
And so if right now they get off the field at 6, they're probably not getting off the field at 7, it's certainly not for their matches and games.
Mhm.
And so that means the user groups, the youth groups are gonna have less time. Or the high school's gonna have to figure out something else, like, we're gonna have to figure it out, whatever it
Right.
is.
And it's not just a 1 year thing, it could be a multiple year type of thing.
Same with if you're gonna use turf versus grass, and those gonna be different fees, because you have that laid out differently in the special.
Yes.
Right.
So my question is, if a permit, if a group has a permit. But they don't, the game gets canceled, whatever. And another group reaches out to you and says, are you still using it? And you say no, and you say you could use it. Do you need to know that kind of stuff? Okay.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay.
because according to our permit, the first group still has the permit, like
Okay.
our paperwork says. Let's say like lacrosse canceled and
Yeah,
soccer wanted it. Doesn't matter who's playing, as far as we know, lacrosse is liable
right,
for whatever happens on that, and if a
Okay.
soccer kid gets hurt,
yeah.
then the
True,
lacrosse league could be liable.
We
yeah,
also would be charging lacrosse.
right, true,
If we go hourly, then we are now charging lacrosse, we're gonna charge lacrosse until we hear otherwise.
And then people would dispute bills like, hey, remember you gave me this on this day,
Yes.
and it's.
Yeah.
And we're, it's be, when we do
Yeah.
this, it'll be very clear, unless you reach out to us in writing. Whatever you request is
Mhm.
what you will be charged for, because I'm not gonna look at the schedule every week and be like, well, it rained this day, so I bet this group didn't use it, like, you will have to tell us.
Mhm.
Because we won't have the capacity.
And I think that should be made really clear
It
up
will
front.
have to
Mhm.
be,
Yeah.
Like,
It's in the field manual.
No, but like at the field, so because what you're gonna have then is people calling you at the end being like, well, we didn't use it after their bills.
Do you
have
remember
been
the-
set.
I said
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
I mean, the only thing we're raising the user fee per person. Now we're layering on a
Mhm.
tiered cost per field.
Mhm.
Do you feel like we've sufficiently talked to user groups to say, we have visibility into when you're using the fields and not? Like, we see that, we have people there, we make note of it, like, this is something that needs to be addressed.
Mhm.
It's an easy fix for you just to be more deliberate in the way that you manage your fields. Do you wanna manage it, or do you want us to manage it? And by managing it, it means we are gonna be charging all of you more money. Like, I think that there needs to be an opportunity for the schedulers to do this, and if we've done that, then I think we
We
should
have
be
reached
using
out.
the stick instead of the
Yeah.
carrot, but it just feels like we're might be going one step.
We have reached out, and it's definitely more the larger groups, I think the smaller groups tend to figure out what they need, and they have less moving
Right,
pieces,
man.
right?
It's easier.
Um,
So
That's as
it's
easy.
harder. for
But
them.
I will tell you that
But
some
they
of our
have
groups,
like, they have someone paid to do their schedule. They should know who's on their field, like,
I
the
will
bigger
tell you
group
this.
should know more.
the permit requests, copy paste, change the dates, it's I can tell you the last 4 years. It's the same thing. Now, I don't know who's on the fields and when, that I don't need to know that. U18, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But, so the proposal that I had originally done was, we went up in 24 with the per person. In 27, let's say we agreed to just do it in 27, the per person stays the same,
Okay.
but then the hourly would go up. And then in 30, we would have to,
Look
2030,
at
we'd have to.
because
increase
that would
the rate.
prevent them from just booking all the fields, cause then they have to pay for that.
But I will say, like, we have had baseball, softball come to us and ask us last year to spend $60,000 to renovate diamonds, $80,000 this year to renovate diamonds. If they keep pushing this and it's reasonable, my guess is FinCom is not gonna agree to increase budgets, but ask us to increase.
Fees
Mhm.
to pay for
Right,
this,
'cause
such work.
Sure.
Right, if you're on FinCom, you'd be like, just raise your fees.
Yep.
Maybe this is something that applies to groups that have more than X number of people, because
Well,
that
then, yeah.
would actually
Because they're
require
not-
more of a schedule, like, I just
Right.
think that there could be an opportunity to be a little bit more direct or
Diligent.
specific, well, for definitely, but then maybe be more targeted to the groups, like, okay, baseball, soccer, and whoever.
Let's pick
They
on field
seem to
hockey.
be the offenders, and we're charging this.
Yep.
Hourly
Mhm.
right now, I just think we need to be, like, it
I
needs to hit the people that.
would agree with
we
that,
think
I don't
are-
know how.
Yeah,
I don't know how to quantify that. I can say. It appears like, baseball and soccer are the biggest offenders, but there's no way to quantify that. It's just me driving around or me hearing
No,
from people.
it's there a lot, it's not totally anecdotal.
No, I just don't have like a data point, basically, but,
Yeah.
I mean, this is
have to.
a thing, you guys. Have to make a choice. I'm just telling you what has been happening, what will come back
Mhm.
on the timeline, and I will tell you, the other thing with this Pollard project is our fields that are not being affected will be affected.
Yeah,
Right.
Because we're gonna put more feet on the
Right.
field,
Yep.
Be lots
and
of
so
pressure.
there's gonna be more grass and more seeding and more aerating and more
Yeah.
that Ed does that I don't even know what he does, but there's gonna be more of it, right, because that's necessary.
yeah.
And there could be fields go offline because they're overused.
Yeah,
We
I
just
mean, at
can't-
some point, the
right?
fields
Because
get
if the town
too,
had that,
if they get
but-
compacted,
Right,
they're
the grass
unsafe.
has to grow.
Yeah,
Could
We
we ever do, remember when we were looking at the Memorial Day soccer tournament, that we looked at it as a special event, if we did it by user fees or kids on the field, of how like the number jumped to like $138,000 or something along those lines, we did. Yeah, could we ever do a pilot program to see and pick like maybe two groups, maybe small ones? And just see that if we did go to a program like this, what the total amount would be maybe at the end of the season, just so we could see. Okay,
And I could tell you, track would cost this much more,
right,
baseball would cost this much more.
because that's something we could go to the user groups and say, if we go down this path, yeah, your fee is going to be on your usual usage, this amount of money. Is
And
that
we
something
can-
That, those numbers, big, you looked at it, it's right, they were huge.
Yeah, because
And we'll have to, we can run the numbers if it was like $10 an hour or
Sure.
Right.
$20, we'll have.
And
to
compare that to how many users
No,
that they
yeah.
have, is it gonna be?
I would be interested to find like a comparable park and rec department, whether it's in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, wherever, to see how they handle it. I'd be curious to see how.
We can reach out to some of our colleagues. I can tell you, we have a newsletter every week through Mass Park and Rec, and every other month, this type of question comes up, like, how do you do field fees? How do you, or like, what software you're using, or whatever it is, but we'll reach out to Lexington is probably one of our more comfortable people. Cause you wanna go like size and number of fields,
Would Walpole be? I don't know why, bigger or smaller Walpole?
The thing is like where you.
There's not a lot of towns around
The
us
high
with
school
25
doesn't own
diamonds.
any of the
Okay.
fields.
Yeah, that makes, you're right. Okay.
Exactly. So, like,
We're also.
rectangles, yes,
Mhm.
there's typically, but. We have a lot of diamonds, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to. Now, they are skewed more towards the Little League diamonds,
Right.
definitely, there's not as many big diamonds,
Mhm.
but we still have a lot of diamonds.
Do most towns do user fees like we do?
Yep.
Okay,
I made a spreadsheet of this. You didn't read it in the director's report?
and this one?
Yeah.
No, I didn't, I missed it.
Yes, we can work on that.
But also, I think we have the added. Uniqueness of that the high school doesn't own and control any of their own fields too. I think that's pretty unique, right? Oh, it isn't.
It's not as unique as you would think.
Really?
Most high schools have a field or two or
Mhm.
three, but
You're not surrounded by kids usually.
no,
Oh.
like
You know what?
Norwood's.
Where I'm from,
Building.
there,
Yeah.
they own their fields, yeah.
Well, yeah, there are some programs, like I know Newton, they own a bunch of their fields. It
Yeah.
Could be through soccer or Little League
Yeah,
or whatever it might
yeah.
be, but with that comes, they're in charge of the maintenance, they're in charge of
Yeah, yeah.
everything that goes
Right,
there.
so that's the flip side, like
Oh.
Norwood varsity baseball and softball fields are at an elementary school, like they don't.
Right,
fields and
okay.
They don't
Okay.
maintain them and
Yeah.
everything, so.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Huh?
that's a lot to think in,
Uh,
right? What would you like to go to next?
Oh.
Let's
I mean, the Pollard Middle School is on there, but I don't.
do the court badges first that we have on the street,
Let
on the
me
sheet,
figure it
and then we'll go into.
should we, could I just say something really quick, should we set a date for when we're going to? Cause I do think this is something that needs a good amount of like reworking and
Like
talking
future.
about. What's that?
Feature.
Yeah,
Like meeting
yeah.
focus.
Well, our field summit is
Is-
scheduled for the 26th of January.
Yeah,
So I would suggest if you wanna pick one. One of the December ones,
yeah.
we have a December 8th and a December 22nd, so you may wanna,
What it
depending on if you want a
Yeah,
22nd,
the eighth. Yeah,
then we can. I can get you
Yes.
that.
And you can have those numbers for us of what it would look like if you did an hourly rate. Okay,
and I think maybe adding, don't freak out, but. Maybe adding some sort of contract that each user group has to sign.
Yeah.
When they request,
A lot of people are moving to that as well,
okay,
that's not,
I
okay,
talked to Newton a lot about what
Okay.
the process is.
like you can't argue with Lou and have him call the police, like,
he's the nicest guy in the world, who,
He is, right.
you argue with him, you got something wrong
right,
with you.
so next up is court badges, Jim asked me to, put this on the,
I printed out,
pass them around.
Oh, cool.
But I also put together the spreadsheet of
I saw it,
the,
thank you.
yep. We can share,
Let's see.
Did they get wet on the way?
Yeah, yeah, was it raining when you were walking in, Jim? Is that why they're wet?
So,
you think?
the user fees that we charge, the number of badges and the overall, revenue, so that it's not a direct one-on-one because we also have, we give a financial aid for some badges and things like that, so. Hmm. Thank you. I just put it together so you had it all in one place, and it was easy to read, and that is,
So it's, the revenue is going down every year, because a lot of people I talk to go, if they're not checking, why should they get a badge?
When did we stop checking? Before COVID? Well before COVID?
COVID, no,
Okay, so we had someone
Before COVID.
checking,
But not only that they're not checking, is that half the people are from out of town.
and they're not buying.
And, well, they're not allowed to. So I checked around, we discussed about checking with other towns, what they do. Wellesley, anybody can play,
Mhm.
you have to. The only thing you pay for is at night, there's a night badge,
Because
Reserve.
they have lights.
because they have lights, but you don't pay per use, I think it's $25 per season. To use the league courts, and only, anybody can play, but only residents can reserve the courts.
Jim, is this pickleball and tennis or just pickleball?
It's pickleball and tennis. I probably just looked up the, wrote down the pickleball stuff.
Okay.
And then in Newton. At one of the parks, they charge $25 a quarter, or it's $20 for residents and 25 for non-residents for a quarter. And at McGrath Park, right on Route 16.
Yeah.
There's an old school, they charge, you buy cards and you pay $5. You buy a 5-game card, 5-time card,
Mhm.
and they must punch them or whatever, whether,
that particular, facility is staffed.
it is.
Yeah,
so
so
that-
they use punch cards, so they come in, they punch the card and you move on, which
And then
would be
in
lovely.
Natick,
Yes.
in Natick, they don't charge, but only residents can reserve, but it's open play, I believe, in the morning. And anybody can play, but only residents can reserve it if it's not open play.
How do they, if you don't mind me asking, how do they book or reserve? When you say they reserve, is it through the town's website? Is?
They have
Park and Rec?
different, each one has different.
Okay.
But for the most, you don't reserve. For the night, for the lit courts,
Mhm.
you have to reserve. I forget what it's a different website. There's a few different booking websites.
Okay,
And in Newton, you don't reserve, you just show up and play.
okay.
And Needham right now, you just show up and play. And there's a lot of non-residents playing, and if we didn't have the non-residents, a lot of the residents wouldn't play there, so it probably wouldn't be a very good game. But I think it's time to open it up.
And do you think if we opened it up and said, non-residents, you have to have a pass to play, would they buy a pass? Because we don't have a monitoring system.
Well, that's the other thing we have to
Right.
discuss.
So we used to
Ooh.
monitor the tennis courts, but the best part was that we had a person who was willing to do it, and it was a woman who worked part-time, and I don't know her particular circumstances, but she did it for a long time. And it worked great, but it was not really a job that was very marketable, right? But
For
so
sure.
so she stopped, she was done, whatever reason.
Sure, it's like crossing guards, it's like,
Right, and
No,
so I don't know
right.
that we've ever tried to get somebody else, but she was kind of a perfect person, she wanted to do what the hours were for her. But and it was really inexpensive for the town.
I thought it could be like possibly volunteers. Maybe give them discount badge or,
Free
you know,
badge.
you have like a sign up. I mean, I play down the Cape in the summer sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're public courts and you don't have to join anything. But they have their own organization, people pay voluntary dues, and they have volunteers that monitor it
Certain hours.
8 to 12
Yeah.
when it's open play.
Right,
So, I mean, the only time you really have to check is in the morning and late afternoon. For pickleball, I don't know much about tennis.
and so pickleball, if you had to say the hours, would you say 7?
If you had somebody at like 8 o'clock
Okay.
checking 8 to 9, and in the evening, you know, in the summer, 6 to 7 or something like that. And I'm not sure about how tennis playing works.
So what is this, only 2 people on a tennis court for
Well-
approximately 1 hour? Are you saying like,
I'm just
Generally
saying, I'm just saying the usage. That's just,
More
just to-
Got it, okay,
So you gotta think if you have two people paying $25 or 8 people.
Got
paying
it, got it,
$25
okay.
On the same size court.
Got it.
well, and then the other thing is, so right now with the badges, you can bring a guest for free. So that should, I would think that should change also, where you can buy, I was like, so you get an individual badge for say $25, I forget what, $50. So you get a guest badge for $20, especially for tennis. Where usually you bring a partner. So instead of, then you get a guest badge for $20 in the season, which is not very much money.
Huh.
And, you know, Needham, I mean, Wellesley has a lot more tennis courts than Needham, and Newton does too. So I'm not sure people are necessarily coming here because we have open courts. Although we do have really nice new courts
Yeah,
For tennis, yes.
for tennis.
yeah,
It seems like this is an issue that whichever path we take would require monitoring. So. We're not increasing revenue by just opening it up to non-residents, because you would need a monitor.
But you would,
And
but we don't have a monitor now.
Right, but we're also. Accepting bad behavior from the pickleball players from Needham by not buying court badges.
Right, I'm not,
They should be, I think that all the pickleball players should be encouraging
oh,
people in Needham to be.
I agree.
Like, so, but,
Oh, I don't
so, but the
disagree.
problem, but we're not gonna increase revenue across the board unless we have someone monitoring them. I think.
To call them out.
To check,
Mhm.
right? to
I
check.
agree.
And so I think we would get revenue from our own Needham residents by having a monitor, like a monitor to do that. I think we need to start there before we start opening it up to out of town guests. When we already don't have enough courts to accommodate our Needham residents.
I don't think that's true.
Then why are we building more courts if we're able to accommodate pickleball?
Well, we built more tennis courts to
For
accommodate the
pickleball.
high school.
The push that we've been hearing is to build more pickleball courts because we can't accommodate
To have,
pickleball players
I don't-
in need.
I don't think that's true. I think you're building courts to have nice courts. I mean, have you been over to Mills recently?
Yes,
It's horrendous.
yes, but I think,
That's not the reason.
well,
There won't be courts at Mills when. I
We'll
imagine
have
there'll be.
dedicated-
but to
No.
Michelle, I think what she's saying, so my husband plays pickleball and he's. Keep trying to convince me to come play, so one time I went with him to Mills. And there was like 100 people there and
It's over.
And you had to wait like a long time.
Did you ask about badges? Is that what you're gonna?
Yes,
tell me?
yes, yes.
I was there for 2 seconds and I told Sean, get me out of here, like people were fighting. Or how long they've been on the floor, and I was like,
I would say. Jim's not wrong, the courts have to be redone, the Mills ones, so like, whether or not they become like the very recreational courts and we put in the new courts, doesn't like. You can replace those. My concern is, well, I agree with Michelle and Jim, we need a.
Yeah,
Either, I know towns that have given up and stopped charging, because it is. You can't get staffing, you can't do it, it's not worth the effort, the money that actually comes in isn't. Worth it at the end of the day, like, you're only bringing in $7,000 and you're paying.
that's
Yeah.
not gonna save
It
people.
doesn't, I
Not
will tell you
staying for
that.
like an hour,
When
like how does
we
that work?
purchase nets and things like, all that money goes out the window. I do want to be cognizant, if we hire somebody to come in, let's say this spring, and be the court monitor.
Mhm.
They are gonna get a world of hate, because for however many years now, we haven't been kicking anybody off.
Right.
So that poor soul is going to walk in and tell people they can't play here anymore because they don't have a badge, and not everybody will be like, okay, sorry, and leave.
Yeah.
So that is a job I would not wanna sign up for, and we have to tell the person interviewing for that job that that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I mean, I don't disagree with Jim, at all, but I'm just wondering, like, if there's no fee, what prevents the same four people from using the court for more than one game?
So,
Yeah, that's
so
why we
tennis,
use the.
tennis, I know there's signs, you can play, was it an hour?
Right.
And it's self-monitored. In pickleball, it's a different sport. So now in the morning, they haven't figured it out in the afternoon. In the morning, everybody, they put up some racks to put your paddles in.
Yes,
Which
So it's
is
like
really
holding a
helpful.
spot.
And everybody stays outside,
yes.
and then the judge turn, you go in.
And
It's
that
very
would-
organized. You might have to wait.
Self-monitor, they're good about that, and
Well, you finish your game and you go off.
just
Either-
don't everybody go off, that whole group goes off?
Yeah, the 4 people.
Okay,
Yeah. And then they can stay and play, they can stay together and play, they just have to put their
Rotate,
pads in,
okay,
and everybody's, if people stay on, people would let.
They get to stay
in
going.
charge, that would still work, they would still self-monitor, I mean,
Well, what I'm saying is, I think self-monitoring could work for the court badges.
yeah,
How long are people on the court? How long are
That's
people?
fantastic.
it takes about 15 minutes a game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're
so, and then you
15
rotate off,
minutes,
I
they
mean,
go off.
I can be there, people can be there 2-3 hours.
But not continuously, it's
No,
a 15-minute.
You know,
Yeah.
and then it's also very social, so then you wait out and you chat. At night, do you go at night?
Dina.
Oh,
You know,
sorry,
Did you go at night?
I did not, I.
I'm sorry.
No, I did not go at night, I went during the day, and it was before they started doing the paddle.
Yeah.
Because my husband told me about that, they started doing that, he does have to pass, so, it was during the day, and it was like peak, it was like in the summer, so. No, I did not go.
So
at
the
night.
morning is so organized now.
Are there lights there for night play?
No,
No.
no, but at night, you're talking, people come after, in the summer, doesn't get dark
Oh,
until
okay,
8 o'clock.
oh, got it, okay,
So like 5 to 8 is very busy, although it's very disorganized at night.
yeah,
But it's not that there's too many, I don't think there's too many people. I don't think there can be too many people. I go to the Y during the day,
Yeah.
I know,
yeah,
so if it's really crowded, you just wait longer.
yeah.
And it's not, nobody really
Yeah.
has a problem.
Mr. Chair.
Do we make
Well,
money
no,
off
no.
of badges? Like, how much money?
It's right there.
Where?
Scroll up,
Mhm.
scroll up.
Wow,
Or
it's
look
up.
up.
Hey, oh,
There you go.
right, oh, no, up,
Dina?
up,
I would-
yep, oh,
There
on
it
the
is.
screen.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, I have,
Yes.
I have some questions.
Go right
One
ahead.
is, we would need to address this if we are going to build a pickleball court at some point.
Yes,
And it's a philosophy, do we wanna charge for badges, or do we wanna do as some towns do and give it up? Because I think that's probably key to building pickleball courts, is how they're gonna operate, so we probably need to know, have some idea what we're gonna do before we embark on that. And then, the other, I did have another point. Oh, the other point is, if this is what we see for the level of badges, it will be very hard to present this project to the finance committee into town meeting and ask for money, because we haven't asked for money yet, that's right, we've asked for.
design,
Feasibility.
feasibility, excuse me.
But it would be very hard, at least for this commissioner, to stand up and say, I need $1.5 million or 3 million. Yeah, $1.5 million.
Call it 2.
Right, so say 2 million, it'd be very hard for me to stand up there and say, we have such a demand for pickleball. That we need to spend $1.5 million, $2 million to build these courts, we've got a spot, it would be hard for me to make that
So,
argument. But let me finish, but all I can say is, this is all, everything we hear from people, it's anecdotal, it feels like it's anecdotal, we don't have, data points, right, we don't have.
We don't
because
have the numbers to
badges
back
we're
it.
sending, we're selling are so small, so I really think, and I know it's not you, Jim, but I think the pickleball players in town really need to pony up, and the money is, in my opinion, pretty short money, right? $22,
I
$50.
agree.
But if they don't buy these badges, how are we gonna make an argument to the town? Because that project is gonna be stacked against other very good projects, right? And so how do we make the case that our project is worthwhile if we can only show 150 badges per soul? So I think the pickleball players need to think about that.
Explain something to me first,
Sure.
okay? So we just spent 2 million plus on tennis courts,
The high school, yep.
and I would venture to guess there's probably half or a third as many tennis players as pickleball players, but you didn't say that last year and the year
Oh,
before.
definitely said that. We said that we needed,
And
we said we needed the high school teams and we need those coaches. And we needed the community to be behind us, or we would not do the tennis courts. And once we started, we argued for 8 courts because that's what the high school said they
so
do.
how many?
Are we doing pickleball at the high school? Are they coming to us saying we need pickleball courts at the high school? Maybe they will. They haven't so far, but we did make that argument in tennis courts and we made it pretty passionate.
We had good numbers from the tennis coaches and everyone saying like, this is how many kids and matches and
No.
everything.
Right,
to back
that's
it up,
gonna,
which helped us.
it's gonna happen in the future to pickleball. I don't know if it's this year, it'll be an MIA sport,
It-
Mm.
a lot of,
Pickleball now.
There is, yeah.
but a lot of kids are playing now.
Right, and maybe then we would have some numbers,
And I
but
think-
every time I look at these numbers, I'm like, I'm gonna build pickleball courts. I think we have these numbers of players,
Look
but,
at the numbers from 2 years ago, 2023,
yep,
300 and, almost 350
337,
players, badges.
Yep.
Probably 200 of those were at least pickleball, tennis, pickleball and tennis. If there's some enforcement mechanism, the numbers will go back up to that.
Why does the enforcement mechanism have to be there? I just
Well,
think
then-
that that's supporting the town and supporting.
Well,
And supporting.
No,
It's not about you, Jim, but
No, no,
I'm saying,
I'm-
like, if you're representing a group, it's just common
well,
courtesy.
what happened-
In etiquette,
Just-
to follow what the town's asking for, and it's not a large cost.
can I tell you anecdotally?
But I think that the issue that I'm not sure what issue we're trying to solve with the out of town people. Is it that not like that money will go to nets and the nets aren't good enough? Is that like, I just don't know what problem we're trying to solve by opening it up to out of towners.
Well-
When we could be getting similar revenue by simply having the Needham residents pay for badges.
And it be enforced.
But a lot of,
We don't need to that, because that'll, we'll have to pay
We
somebody
don't
and
have
that'll
a
dig into
monitor,
the.
then non-residents will show up and play anyway, because they're not allowed to pay.
Why would out of towners be encouraged to pay if our own Needham residents aren't?
Well,
And the-
but-
Hey, I
No,
don't
right,
think
no,
there's
so no.
no grounds, there's no leg to see.
under number one, under the current policy, only half of the players need badges.
And
'Cause
I
you're
think
allowed to
that
bring a guest.
encourages the level of play, to your point, I think that's.
But if only half the
the
people need badges, nobody's really breaking the rules. Cause probably half the people have badges. That's my whole point. I mean, just,
I think. I definitely agree, it's pickleball something that is becoming more and more popular. And, we should have courts for them, obviously, and. But I think before, this is just my opinion, if before, we open it up to non-residents. We maybe solve the resident issue first and like make sure that our I agree that we should not. They shouldn't allow to bring a guest free every time, right? Is that what they're allowed to do now?
Yeah,
We've been doing that
Tennis.
forever.
So like,
cause you can't play tennis by yourself.
well,
So
true,
the thought is that you bring a friend.
but I'm saying, but maybe that doesn't have the guys already, there is.
That is the.
But like, Jim, like maybe
Sorry, that
we
didn't mean to be so blunt.
get a handle on making sure. Everybody that's currently playing that are residents now are getting passes. And then maybe revisit and add in. Do a lot of out of towners come now anyway?
the what?
Non-residents, do they play now
It's
anyway?
probably 50-50, but that's what makes it a good game,
Uh,
I would think. I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
for
You don't have
fact.
an exact number.
Yeah. One of the things I'm thinking about is. Sort of agree with everything, but. To your point, Michelle, we don't do anything to like force the residents or even remind them. we don't do any advertising for court badges at all. Like outside of it's in the brochure and you should know, but if you don't know, there's no way to know. We have to email our user groups for fields 1,000 times to pick up trash and they don't. So. So if we do a bigger push in the news you need in a social media push where like court badges will help us fund X, Y, and Z. If you're playing, you need a badge. Cause I think. While the department doesn't have the capability to go down and check on the courts and monitor courts and. Not to mention that a lot of our staff are high school kids that would be available for that. I'm not putting them in the middle of that. But if we can do a push publicity wise and we get more income that way, that could be our first step and see where it goes.
Jim, is Playtime Scheduler the program they use for Mills?
People don't really use anything
Okay,
anymore.
okay.
You know what, a few people, like newer groups, they'll sign up in the afternoon, but for
They don't
instance, like in
use
the
it.
morning. People just show up, they know people gonna be there, and late in the day,
Yeah.
people just show up.
Okay.
It
Was
used to be
thinking,
getting,
maybe, yeah, like maybe if we had like some sort of scheduling system where you have to put your badge number in before you could schedule it, but I don't know if that exists.
doesn't, not anymore.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we're looking at a new software system, because our current software system is trash. And the company itself is imploding and we wanna get out while we can.
Mhm.
That software system has a very robust, thank you, robust way of scheduling courts.
Mhm.
Where people would have to log in, put in their, they would have to have a badge or whatever in order to schedule, so it would be a different kind of
That's what
thing.
they do in Wellesley at night.
Yep,
so
and
I think
so.
we can work with non-residents.
And you
also.
can also have spaces blocked off where it's like open play, you can just show up and play, so we wouldn't be able to monitor that,
Sure.
but. I mean, that's
If
a
they're
year
coming
route.
anyway,
Yeah,
that
it's
should
just
be
like,
bad.
cause I thought that was like, you didn't wanna go down. the Scheduling.
I didn't
But
wanna deal with it,
Subs.
yes, I don't want the staff to have to schedule, like have a big spreadsheet in the office, but if the software system can handle it.
Yeah.
We're actually looking at it for fields too, so that like. If, and I'm gonna use flag football once. To use a field, 3 different fields for 4 different times, they have to do it separately every single time, so it will force them to think about whether or not they need it.
It puts
And-
an onus on that.
It also,
Yeah.
you can double book things and it doesn't get approved till one of us approves it, so if there is a double book, we can decide or. Reach back out and say, do you guys wanna figure this out or are we gonna do it for you?
Could you also put a cap on like, and I'm just gonna use you, Dina, say Dina signs up 20 times.
Yeah.
There's no way you could put, you're not gonna let someone have a monopoly on, hey, I only wanna use the new high school courts.
Yep.
I'm gonna take every 9 o'clock slot
Right.
every summer morning kind of thing like that. There's gotta be a cap. Of who and how many logins of that they get per week. Something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
again, this software system is a year and a half down the road by the time we. Decide, go out to bid, get the thing, and then implement it will be its own thing, so.
Okay.
But I think, as far as the department goes, we can't get. A monitor, and we have looked out for volunteers before, we have pushed out, we haven't put, that's the thing, like, we haven't pushed.
Mhm.
Request volunteers and from the people that already use the courts, we just put it out broadly. So I think departmentally, we can at the very least. Publicly
Mhm.
really push these badges and what, the thing is, people are like, well, what are they for? My taxes pay for the courts, why do I have to buy a badge, right? We hear that a lot.
Mhm.
Same thing with the pools, same with the fields, it doesn't matter. So we can outline, this is
Mhm.
what the money goes to.
Yeah,
And essentially, when we do get. All of our courts to be the post-tension concrete, that maintenance number is gonna drop.
Mhm.
But it's, we're still gonna need it to like leaf blow and
Yep.
shut them down
Yeah.
and replace, like, there's still maintenance, it's just a different kind of maintenance, so I think. It's worth a shot to see what the social media push
Mhm.
does for the numbers, for the registration.
Also, when you do that, publicize that Needham is looking into courts and you need to show numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's.
No, that's-
So when you go to like Wells or wherever.
I haven't played well.
Oh, you don't, okay, I'm just curious. if
I used
you
to.
Sticks his nose up.
pay.
But yeah, I think saying on that flyer, we're looking to put like. we are currently in design for, looking for construction money to
Yep,
buy brand new, build
build.
new courts, but we need the numbers to support it. Right now, we don't have.
No,
So I
that's great,
think-
I like
you
it.
know,
There. Sorry, my allergies, if they're gonna be there.
and if
Anyway,
anyone
they're not
does
resident,
build
they
courts,
should pay.
it'll be a destination. They could
Don't you
they could
think?
charge decent money to
The new courts.
new courts.
Yeah, we'll jump up our.
Stacy, what's your opinion? I mean, as the director, like if there's non-residents there anyway, they might as well pay, right?
Well, that's just my point.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I have worked in a lot of different communities. In Arlington, it was a free for all.
Yeah,
Because there were so many courts and they were all over the place and there wasn't a chance we could do anything. They also were not in great shape and continue to do that. In Lincoln, we only had 6 courts for significantly less amount of people, but they were clay courts. So we were, and they were on the same campus as our office. So it was a lot easier
Mhm,
to,
Police them.
to police them.
because,
And people that play tennis, that like tennis, like play courts. They, let's just say they self-policed, I don't have to do
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
people were like, no, because it's a lot of work.
it
to-
is,
yeah,
To break
Is
them
it-
down and keep them and
Roll them.
it's a
Yeah.
lot of money to upkeep those courts, so.
You
It
want
sort of
that?
doesn't go place, we did
Yeah.
have,
You want donation for the 59 cents?
all right.
alright, so we'll push, you'll do more of a social media push?
Yeah.
Mhm,
And we'll see how that
I don't
goes.
like it.
I just think there's more to, like, once someone has a court badge, they can use it anytime. The etiquette is that I am inviting you to play. And you out of town guests are my guest.
Yeah.
So that, having them buy a court badge, they can use it whenever they want and they have free reign. So I think that's where we just lose a bit of control and we have not had a set of courts to manage ourselves.
Yeah,
And it just feels like a big leap to me.
yeah,
That's where.
Okay, no, I thought that was great to bring it up. I mean, some of the information, but yeah, if we can start looking into other things and just getting some creative ideas. I think the social media push is a huge start, because if we're gonna be asking for money for courts, gotta have the numbers to back them up.
Yeah.
If we don't have the numbers, we're not getting the courts. So, all right. Next discussion items was roll right into it. Pollard Middle School. Oh boy, where do we want to start with this one? Let me think. Of all the meetings that we've had so far.
We've been to a lot of meetings.
Yes.
Tonight I'm missing my first PPC meeting in months because they're meeting at the same time.
where are we?
So, all right, so let's see, let me go back at least let's go back actually to the week of October 6th. Where we had town meeting. There was a chairs meeting at the town hall that Tuesday morning, where Cindy and I were part of his. Yeah, you couldn't make it, and just discussed of where the project is going, where the timeline is, what the requirements are, what the asks are, and Matt Spangler is here from the school committee, so please keep me honest if I do miss something. And where the timeline is, as it stands right now, the budgetary numbers will be coming in around Friday, November 21st. Those will be some rough, but pretty close to accurate numbers of what a Pollard Middle School will look like. Now, it will also be broken up into 4 categories. 2 of the categories are a 7-8 school, and the other category is a 6 through 8 school. So you have those 2 factors right there. The other 2 factors are the site. Is it gonna be built on Pollard, a 7-8 or 6-7-8? Or could it possibly be built on DeFazio, again, a 7-8 or 6-7-8? That the timeline of when the school committee wants to at least start making a vote, or at least the PVBC, is around the 24th of November, correct? Because by December 18th, the town has to make a decision of what site they're going by for the MSBA to get on the February calendar of the MSBA. Does that sound right? Yeah. Wow, okay.
And by the town, who's that?
Town meeting, that's the town.
So.
No, so
is
who's,
it the vote of the town or?
No, no.
This
no.
book gets submitted as a project to the MSBA for them to consider whether or not they will fund it.
Exactly, so So where it stands right now is that we've had a few meetings, is that the designers, I mean, we were all here for the last time the designers were here, where they showed conceptual designs. There have been some tweaks here and there and everything like that. As it stands tonight, we had a working group with, Dr. Kudikans was here. There are two members from the school committee, Park and Rec, Conservation, Select Board. Hank Half and Merrill were here from the town. Who am I missing?
From the PBBC.
PBBC
Stewart,
was still, yeah,
Council.
town council was here too, Katie King was here also, where a possible. I don't wanna say possible proposal, of more of just an idea of what could happen. So, and I know we only have 2 copies of this, and we don't have it electronically, do we?
So
Okay,
they,
sure,
they are presenting, so
hold on, let's go Dina's question first.
I just, okay, so if we have already, as we know, we've opened it,
Mhm,
but we're not gonna open that space at ACO.
mhm.
Why is that this still built in?
they are still considering, it is still an option. So you may remember there's a map in here that shows that
Yeah.
school department has jurisdiction, some jurisdiction at education. And theirs is primarily the parking lot is their jurisdiction in this popular area. Our
In
jurisdiction.
the top out there.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
our jurisdiction are the fields, and the 7 field, and then the select board has some small piece over here.
by the DPW, yeah.
By the DPW. So, so the schools could build something on, just something with jurisdiction, because it's mostly the parking lot. What their proposal is that they would like to build a building that would be not only the parking lot and the top lot, but they would also take Healy Field. They would take a small field, and they would take the pavilion and the green space by the pavilion. So they think that to build the school that they want to build, they need that
Right.
space. So
Mhm.
I can go more, so they have, not given us a formal proposal, but there are, certainly drawings that have been done by the architects that show if they took those fields.
Yeah.
That comes up to
6.6.
Yeah,
6.6 acres, I have that here, 6.6 acres. And their proposal is that they, that transfer jurisdiction to Park and Rec of 6.6 acres. On the Pollard side, we could go the other, go through the town on the other side of the tracks, and it's what they call the backyard of the Pollard.
Yeah.
Right, so so their.
Yeah.
Proposal is, that they take the fields that I outlined, and they give us an exact, basically acre for acre.
that I do, yes.
And that's, and they showed some drawings,
Okay,
and that's what we talked about tonight.
so that, yeah, I remember all of that. I guess
Okay.
my question was, I did not realize that the school
Mhm.
has jurisdiction over the law.
Parking lot
Right,
and the
so
parking
parking
lot,
lot.
yep.
This map I said, this one,
This one.
this color, just
Okay.
to show you what the jurisdiction is,
Okay,
right?
What this would have was back in 2016, sorry not to cut you off.
Yep.
And then after 2016, because
Right,
there were a
so-
bunch of land swaps going on, parcel 74.
that was all
Phase
because
2.
of Field of Dreams or?
No,
No.
in 2007, but in 2016, the town looked at everything and said, this doesn't really, this map on the left, this doesn't really make sense, right? That the park is carved up that way.
Yes,
Like, that park should be, all of the park space, if you will, should be under Park and Rec.
yeah,
And then, so to make the schools whole was give them a piece over here, and at the time, the schools had talked about perhaps building an elementary school.
okay,
Yes.
Corner of that, right?
Okay.
That was always, considered. So that's what happened in 2016.
Okay.
And there were other jurisdictional spots that happened, it was a whole big thing at town meeting.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
there was like 10,
Okay.
there was like 10 parcels of
lots
land.
of things transferred so that we would all end up basically.
Right.
Even.
Mhm.
Okay.
That makes sense. So we went from the left side to the right side, which makes much more sense, right? That it's at least now it's.
okay. Thank you, that was very
Okay.
helpful.
Michelle has a question.
I don't wanna jump in before you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think my question, we've been hearing. The touch points that we have all relate to Defazio and why they, or just the use of it. I've not heard much update on Pollard as a site. My understanding was all the amenities. And access, parking, everything would be available on on the Pollard site. What is it as attractive? Like, what has changed to suggest that? Or are we suggesting that DeFazio is more attractive to different boards?
No, I mean.
Yes, yeah.
And why is,
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why.
What changed, yeah.
Because we have all of the fields that
Mhm.
we need and want in the condition that we want in that area. And my understanding is that all of the Pollard amenities for the school
Yeah.
can be created and built
Mhm.
in the Pollard footprint. Has something changed about that property, about the way in which the building would be built, the way in which the parking would work?
I totally
The,
agree.
the phrase that keeps on getting said is both sites, Pollard and DeFazio, both has its challenges.
Okay.
That where you have wetlands in both, as you can see on the map. With DeFazio, you would also have to have a land swap or jurisdiction of land. At Pollard, you would not have to worry about that because it is school committee land. They could build whatever they want on it because it falls under their jurisdiction. The only thing that we would technically lose if they did build Pollard on Pollard would be the fields, being the multipurpose fields and the softball diamond and probably those tennis courts that we don't use anyways. But I think we are all
Only
under,
temporarily though, right, while they were relocated.
No,
to
they were
build.
built on.
they were to build Pollard on Pollard. They would build the school now down closer to where the fields are.
Yeah,
Why can't they use the current foot?
because they don't have a place to put the.
They don't put any place to put the kids.
They've got.
They would build the school next to it
Okay,
as the
got it,
kids
got it.
are
Yes,
still in
yes,
the
yes,
field.
yes.
So,
Okay.
The only language that I've heard was that, we don't always get to use those fields because they're very wet.
correct.
And I've heard that just the term that is a bathtub.
They call it.
And then,
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
so
been said many a times.
Hear that.
is that why it's no longer attractive?
Oh, you're
Well,
asking.
My perspective is they have to solve that issue, that groundwater issue and that stormwater issue, regardless of what they do.
Okay.
Right,
Correct.
so I think I feel like some of them feel like it is easier to solve it with fields than it is to solve it with the building. But
Okay.
you've gotta solve it, you know, we've heard that, well, that, you know, the topography isn't good in it,
Yeah.
but when you have to solve those problems for fields.
Yeah,
Or for a building, so I don't know that you get out from under fixing that problem, I agree, I
No.
don't think.
You know-
It's a problem that needs to be fixed.
it was also brought up that in regards to hypothetically, if they did build Pollard at DeFazio. The cost of ripping down Pollard would not be reimbursable on the MSBA. The town would be responsible for the ripping down of Pollard, which is a $5 million price tag, or 6.5, because I think it went up since the initial.
Where would the students be in the interim if they built it at DeFazio? And then
At
Pollard, at that current.
Yes, if they were to build Pollard at Pollard or Pollard at DeFazio, they would still stay at Pollard.
Regardless, still gets built.
Correct.
But the
Either
difference is.
Either way.
Right, but the difference is whether or not, if they build a 6, 7, 8, which they're pretty committed to in their educational
Mm-hmm.
plan, which is. Out of my view, but the difference is when they build that new school, they take a 6th grade out of High Rock.
Yeah.
Right, and then High Rock is available for
Space
space.
space for
So,
Mitchell.
And the idea right now,
Yeah.
is to keep that, right, they could put Mitchell kids there, while they take up Mitchell, so it's in there.
Okay. Okay.
So.
And then they would not call it out.
Mhm. So just, I mean, kind of looking at it and then we've all seen the timelines of the last meeting when the architects were here, is that there was a time frame between 31 months all the way up to 45 months,
Or 50 some months.
or 50 some odd months of
Like 40,
fields
50 some months.
being offline. The other thing that I know we've seen in all of the other renderings, I think at the beginning is, again, if Pollard was built at DeFazio, that we would net gain more fields at Pollard. Looking at the most recent one here, we are just being offered acre for acre.
Right.
So if we give up 6.6 acres, we're gonna get 6.6 back, and that would generally be the playing fields that we already have, even though they're not on our jurisdiction, they would now just be on our jurisdiction, but we maintain those fields anyways.
So last week at the PPC meeting, there's an opportunity like our meeting at the beginning to speak, right? So I took it, said, you're from Park and Rec, and you're asking us to go through 4 years of disruption, right? And pain and affect all of our fields because all these fields are disrupted and they have to play somewhere. And then at the end, we might get fields back. We're not even sure that that's part of the project. They say it is, hopefully that's right.
Right.
But we have fields then that will be no better than what we have now, because we have really good fields now. Maybe you'll deliver good fields to us, but so far, our experience with school projects has not been good fields get delivered, right? Those people are school builders and not field builders, and we have to do more work. So you're telling me 4+ years of pain, disruption to the whole town, and in the end, I'm not even as well off as I was. So the whole idea of what will give you the Pollard site, so I made that point, and they listened and they referenced my comments later. I mean, I did feel like they listened and they considered it. But tonight, I don't want to go. But tonight, Dr. Buchanan said, he asked, did we think, in terms of Chris and I, did we think that there was consensus to move, reading his words, to move forward with further conversation and the development of a draft memorandum of understanding that would shift jurisdiction of these two parcels and should be brought to the boards in town meeting for approval. And he looked at us and our chair said, no. No, I mean, it was very simple, no. So that was interesting, kind of a stop to the conversation. But he said, if you bring this to your board, do you think that there will, there will be consensus? We just said no.
Yeah.
So, but this is what we have to do due diligence of. I know it was just Cindy and I at the meeting tonight. But we do have to ask you, because we can't speak on behalf of you, that if something like this was presented to the other 3 members of the commission, what would you say? And we'll go, Jim C. So, all right, we'll go Jim first and Michelle. Okay, we'll go Dia first.
Quick question, sorry. If Pyrock can be used for swing space for Mitchell,
Correct.
why can't that be repurposed into a new?
It's just not, it's not enough people. It's not large enough to rebuild that site for the 3.
No, they can't build a middle school.
They mean
I
swing.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
It's not a big enough site. It is a difficult site. It's difficult access to that site.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with MSBA money coming to play, these are the only 2 sites.
I know, I
Now-
know, something that
Yeah.
just,
Other, if they moved to a different site, they'd have to redo the whole.
yeah,
Start
I
over.
just,
Start over.
Yes.
So what we'll do is I'll just give me a brief minute. Why or why not would you accept this? Yeah.
Well, I was looking at it earlier
Mhm.
and where the field is at Pollard, I've played there. And rain stays there for days and weeks and it stays muddy. If they were willing to transfer the whole Pollard site when it was empty, I mean, you should be getting at least as good as you had,
Mhm.
if not better, for the inconvenience.
That was one of the
I
phrases.
mean,
I
I'm not
brought up.
against helping the, I mean, my kids went to Needham schools and it's,
I use the phrase of the fields at DeFazio are like a Cadillac.
Yeah.
You're asking me to turn in my Cadillac to get a Pinto. That's how I phrase it up that. I know it's probably not the most professional thing to say, but I think people got the reference,
You know
so.
what? Jim, at one point, the idea was floated to us that, well, if you got the Pollard site, how would you feel? And I said, well, that's a 15-acre site. I'd be thrilled with that. But then, the realistic option is, no, we can only do the 6 acres. So we can't have the whole Pollard site. And then Dr. Buchanan said, well, if that whole site was going to be fields and open space and green space, would you agree to that? And he said, only if you can guarantee it to me, if you can transfer jurisdiction, but can you guarantee that? And he said, no, which of course he can't, right? So,
Right.
So you're right, that's what we thought too. If we could get, if we were offering something bigger, but.
that's what it sounded like at the meeting we went to.
Yes, it did sound.
That's what it seemed like.
it's a terrible location to. I could still, that has the traffic study been done.
No, so there's been a preliminary thing that was done about certain things, but we haven't got the master correct. There has not been a master traffic policy sent in yet.
No, not that.
Okay.
How do you, right, we just have something. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, even if they were, I mean, that's definitely appealing, but I just think it's a pretty bad location. To have all open space and fields anyway, I mean.
Michelle, comments?
Yeah, I think at the last meeting, there was a design of what this could look like.
Yeah.
And that was how we
Fields, yep.
spent that whole time, was looking at parking, number of parking spots, number of fields, turf fields, having an upgrade over there, having paths around, accommodating some of
We
the
have that whole
access,
plan, Right,
the lighting. This will not give us any additional park.
Mhm.
If, like, we're encroaching on the existing parking, so if anything, we would have the
Actually, Michelle,
existing.
they say
50
there is more parking,
Well, that's if-
Bulldoze
there is
the-
more parking in here than what we have. I don't
If they were to
Yeah.
build, no, if they were to build the school here, there technically would be more.
But not
parking.
dedicated. It's.
But then you
we
run
would
No, not
have-
be dead, no.
We would have,
Right,
we would
right.
have where Healy is, that would be partial,
162 spots there.
which would then take. Like
Mhm.
6-year-olds, 20 minutes to
Yes.
walk over.
An ADA, you have to get the
Yeah,
ADA.
but-
Like
Fine, yeah.
CO2,
Yeah,
there's,
Mhm.
you have less sight lines. If you
Yes.
Park over here, you
No
can't
line of sight.
access.
yeah,
There's no, like, cause that was continuing to be an issue, is like, if you're the park, our parking is Healy.
Mhm.
And you have no sight line over to Brock.
Yeah.
Or Founders.
Mhm.
And you have people, like you have other kids over here, there was no, conversation about, buses. All of this was like to be
Mhm.
confirmed, but like buses, where you, if there's field use over here, you need
right,
bus parking, you need bus
Yep.
parking here.
Right, bus turnaround.
You need,
Yes.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
there's a lot, so.
emergency vehicles.
I just
Yeah.
worry, like, I think. There was it was attractive, like, to me, like, looking at what we could have here in order to address this gigantic. Gap and hole in what we now have as a really amazing facility. Could have been partially filled if we had access to the whole Pollard. Field,
Right.
but now we have the same, we have maybe parking here and the same fields, which are water.
I would agree.
Right, now those fields, they say that would be resolved, right, that stormwater and whatever. that-
Yes.
would
But
be
even
resolved.
so, there's still,
We
though,
still have to clear, there's wetland here, we have to clear the
Yes.
trees
yes,
and have a retaining wall against Fulton Park. You'd have to clear the trees for access,
They-
unless we didn't want to.
Sure.
But if you're going this is literally a field, literally a field, like, you can't build on this without it being back to back. In baseball, you have to have fencing, which encroaches your ability to get to the fields, like,
Mhm.
you can't, it's not Lego.
Where you have a
Like,
multi-purpose now at Pollard, because you could play softball, because there's no fence, and you can play soccer.
Yeah.
Part of the outfit.
yes, yes,
If you're now gonna put a fence up there, you're now taking away,
Yes.
you're not getting a multi-purpose field, you're getting a one-use field.
Like,
Mhm.
so how do you replicate these stuff?
right,
That's what this said.
I 100%
That is
Yeah.
like, the night, like,
Mhm.
Right.
that is the Little League.
Yeah, that was the premier, that's where they
Now,
were
I
on
would
those sport games
say
this year.
that the school committee feels, that they are solving our parking problem and actually making it a lot better with this plan. And to them, it is very attractive to have their school in the middle of this big complex. And trying to get President Moore, to me, that's not attractive, that actually takes away from the complex. And our thought always was, when this was designed, that there would potentially be an elementary school, but it would not be the size and
Right.
of this, and it would be further over, and it was really designed with that in mind, not for this and not to give up fields. But you know, everybody would say it differently, and so they basically would give us, right, 1/3, a little more than 1/3 of the Pollard site, keep 2/3. And they're talking about perhaps green space and fields, but what they're really doing, and I don't blame, is they're keeping it because they may need it in the future, and they may need it to.
And they need the flat.
Right, they need
They need
lots
the
of, they may
10 years
need to build it, they may
Right.
need to block modules, they may need to trade it for something, right? Because.
That was one of the things, and I'll cut you off, that brought up the point, is that you could put a school there at Tefazio and get 60 years out of it, hypothetically. You could put fields on the old Pollard and we might only get 5 years worth of use out of it,
Right.
because some other things might pop up, there might be another project. The town might want to reconsider it, so we're not getting the value of where they're getting a 50-year school, we're not getting a 50-year field. If I can word it
If
that
we
way.
even get a field there.
Yeah.
Right? So blame them for not wanting to give it up, because
No, no.
we don't wanna give a big part either, because
I
you know
know.
you're not getting it back, it's like.
I just think that there's, and then I'll stop talking. I guess I have a lot to say. Is that this, like, we have so many events.
Mhm.
It's not just about the field.
Right.
It's not just about like, again, like all I can think of is Legos, like, there, this is like lay down space for big events, like. That we do.
Track does event,
Ellie
Ellie Bloom Olympics, yeah.
It's,
Touch trucks.
Touch the track.
yeah, but it's just like bigger events that the town hosts.
Yep.
The Little League opening day, like.
Yep, opening day would
you
be
need to
gone.
Have like the bigger, tournament. So like this, it's, the open space is used for the community.
Yes.
You can never get that.
No,
space
I
back.
agree.
Like, where do you get it? Like, under the tunnel or something?
Yeah,
Like, it's just
yeah.
not, it's not practical for the use of this community complex. So there's little things that we lose, especially this cuts the whole thing out, you know, it's just the butts.
Yes,
Trap, yeah.
yes,
The other part I did bring up is that, and again, speaking for myself, and I think we'd all agree that with Pollard project coming up, with it being built on Pollard, we knew we were gonna lose those fields. We knew we were gonna lose the softball field, we knew we were gonna lose the
Right.
multi-purpose field. That's why we kind of beefed up some of our other projects, like Clax and everything, to absorb that usage on other fields. So in my opinion, we always knew we were going to lose them. That is a willing thing that we were willing to give up to keep everything else that we have. So,
And these were kind of lower,
Mhm.
like, quality.
right, I mean, are all of our fields perfect? No, but do we try? We try to improve as many as we can every single year? Yes,
Yeah.
but those are ones that we found other ways that we can manage, suitably manage to put those user groups other places.
yeah.
So.
I have to go ahead and agree with everything she
Sure.
said.
So I guess like the next, so there is going to be a public meeting via Zoom on the 17th. That it will not be a question and answer type of thing. This is just more hearing from the public. That originally, we weren't on that meeting. That I asked to be part of the meeting just because if there was a Park and Rec question at the time, I thought. I wanted us to field it, but there will not be a question and answer, it's just more of a comment type of thing, so. We are invited to the meeting, we will just, listen in and take notes and hear from the public and hear what they have to say. I know Stacy's been very good about the emails that we've gotten. 5 of them, maybe 6
There's a
from,
few that I just put in a folder because they say essentially the same thing,
got it,
but that like we support a school,
Yeah.
not specific locations.
Sure, yeah.
Most of them have said, we hope you support a school.
which again, I think we all agree. All it needs to be done, yeah, they need a new middle school.
But that's a little bit what I worry about, that these, like, I've been to the tour, even though both my kids, but.
I was gonna say,
Like, I've not been to the meetings, they just talk about the need for a new school. They don't talk about the impact that the different sites are gonna have on the community.
Yes, and
Do
that's,
you all feel like
Agreed.
that's not discussed, and I worry that this public hearing, all it is to say, do we need a new school?
So there's two things, so one is,
Okay.
we did talk about that, if we try to build a school to Fazio, we think it will be very divisive to the community, and we made
Sure.
that point a couple of times, and Dan answered that loud and clear.
Okay.
And the select board feel that way too.
Yep.
that-
Okay.
That this could be very divisive, worse than cricket was, and cricket was nasty. And the other thing is that, we are gonna say, I think Chris too, have been advised by people we know that say, we should reach out to our user groups and get them this information and get them to speak up, because, we need that voice, those voices to be heard, so the select board needs it, so the school committee hears it. Because the school committee is hearing from the people that they deal with, who are school parents who say, yeah, I want that, and if you want to build it, things, I'm fine with that, right?
Right.
We have
Right.
an overlap, but also different constituency who aren't so crazy about losing to Fazio to this, so. So we need to understand how we can get our message out and say, hey, this is going on, because as always, people don't necessarily pay attention until it comes to the very 11th hour, right? And they will say, oh, I didn't know.
and it's not just about losing to Fazio, it's about, line of sight safety, ADA compliance, emergency vehicle, traffic. It's not just about losing.
I totally agree.
And I feel like that has to be made pretty clear to the public.
I think a lot of the boards are hearing, so the select board is. I think supportive of us, they are very wary of pushing this forward Because they're not sure it will pass, and they don't wanna put something out on a warrant or have something go out for a vote that is not gonna pass. And they're very concerned about the jurisdictional issue, that how would that happen?
Right,
How would that happen?
right.
So that's definitely talked about, but keep in mind that this map here, right, the schools can do what they need to do on that yellow piece of property, right? So we will have to work cooperatively with them.
Yep.
I mean, of course we would, right?
Yeah.
We would,
Yeah.
We all
And
live in the same town, but we need to keep that in mind.
And if the school gets built on Pollard, we are going to have to work with the school committee. They're gonna look for laydown space. Is it the
Right.
parking lot? Is it the Todd lot? Is it Warner Field? Like, these are things that, you know, we will discuss with them because, you know, that's what we're gonna do.
Right, and they're talking about in the future, they will need a place for Mitchell modulars to go somewhere when they build Mitchell. I'm still not quite clear on that, because wouldn't those kids be at High Rock, but I'm.
Yeah, I thought that was, yeah,
Right.
well, I guess if not, if they don't.
If they don't do a 6, 7, 8, and they
Right.
only.
Yeah, if they don't do 6, 7, 8, that's what it would be.
They do.
And that seems like that is definitely planned, right? That is.
No, that would,
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing, so
Yeah.
that the school committee is advocating for approach 16, because it's absolute space, the money it saves. By doing that, hopefully.
And we would, I don't think we have support to say the school committee should do that, because that's not on it, right? Place or, I don't know, yeah.
But I will say, like, I hear community members like, well, no, see it on Facebook, I've heard it in Pollard Q&As. Like, how can, like, the Park and Rec as a commission represents our constituents, so how can they make this decision without hearing from their constituents?
Yes, yes.
So I
Right,
don't know how to do that in a.
Yes,
So we do need to do something.
Mhm.
I think we, as a commission, are voicing our views that, like, us as stewards of the field,
Mhm.
of the town, in the community, this is our recommendation, but if they want more public outreach from us to talk about this, then I think we should do that,
I
so.
think we should do it. And I think we've been hoping that it would be resolved before it had to get to that point, because, and it's because I'm Park and Rec Commissioner, but to me, it was clear, right, that this was not a good decision. But if you talk to a school committee member, right, to them, it was clear that it was good, so I had thought it would get resolved before this.
Yeah, or
So-
do we host something?
so
I
what
just
we're
thought it would be in the
thinking-
public,
no.
the Pollards,
So what we're
but it's not.
heavily consider doing, at least what I think we should heavily consider doing, is send an email out to all of our user groups. Talking about the project, hitting the highlights about it, and for questions and concerns, just like we're getting the emails from people in the public about putting a school there, we're gonna put the select board down as the point of contact, because they will be able to filter the message out to the appropriate departments. So we will say it's one of those things of a campaign of reach out to your select board members, here are the email addresses, and they will be part of that email that is sent out. So the user groups can then take that body of the message that we're going to send out, that they can send it out to all their users. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got to have a couple thousand users. You know, not just the groups of like people in the sports programs that I'm like, it could be a very large consistency of going out to all of the user groups. So everyone knows the message, because you're right, there are people out there that they don't know what's going on. Or they heard about it secondhand, like, why aren't you guys doing this?
I just think it's targeting a different
Mhm.
Right.
that of
Targeting the
do
users.
we need Pollard to change and not what, like, the impact that the different sites are gonna have on the community.
Right.
It's just,
Right.
so I think being a little bit more direct is what.
No, I agree.
right, because we're not against 6 through 8 or any school, we all agree it needs to be done.
Yes.
But I think right now it's very
It's location.
heated, and yes, and that's what people think, that we just are not supportive of the school.
I'd say most people even.
I don't agree.
I don't think,
Yeah.
I mean, they know that the policy they talk about.
Yeah.
And what they really wanna know is how
How much
much
it's
it's
gonna
going
be.
to be, and
Yes.
what the impact is gonna be on.
Yeah.
And so 330 million, what is that, potentially $2,000 a year on a tax bill, right?
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what they wanna know.
Yeah, they wanna know the number, and
Right.
here's the thing, you can't give a solid number yet, because they don't have.
They
the
don't have
numbers.
the cost estimates yet.
Yeah.
right?
And
So,
then, but user groups, when like, I'll see them on the fields and they're like, that's never gonna happen. They're never gonna build on the field.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they are.
yeah, they
And
should,
you
yeah.
need,
Yep.
like, you need to know that that is a
Right.
very highly likely option.
Right.
So they're like, that's not,
Yeah.
oh,
So we did make the point tonight, and hopefully they for it, they, if you look at those maps, right, the first map back before 2016 was like ridiculous the way it was divided.
Yeah.
So then in 2016, we said, the town said, this doesn't make sense, let's make this map make sense. So then we made it make sense, right? And now look at the most recent map, the potential they're showing, you go, and I said tonight, it doesn't make sense again. So you made sense in 2016 to jurisdictions make sense on this, and now you're asking for something that doesn't make any sense. You split it up, you've got a field, you got a school in the middle of these fields. It's just, and fields on the other side of the bridge, it's like not.
I honestly, I think the traffic is gonna be the biggest issues.
Well, that's a big issue for the school.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, Tiffany has, I don't envy, because it's a big issue. This has got a lot of problems to be solved, right? I'm sure they can be solved, they're not easy.
Right. I mean, there are also other factors that are literally out of the town's control, that if a land swap ever does get considered or even done, that automatically triggers an Article 97, which means it's gonna go in front of state legislation that they have to approve it. So you're gonna think that all this work could be done, and if the state doesn't approve it, back to square one type of thing, or, you know, option B, or however you wanna word it. So there are some hurdles, and there's gotta be an environmental study that's gotta be done, and that could take from 6 months to even longer of, now you're putting a longer project timeline.
So,
Awesome.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I
Yeah.
think that the question maybe is, do all the commissions
Sure.
feel the same way, or is there a difference of opinion? Because you and I represented,
No, no,
like,
I agree.
only two of us could be.
I feel the same way you guys do. I absolutely.
You feel the same way?
Yes, so I feel the same way that it's not, that this proposal isn't gonna change our view, is that what we're?
Yes.
what
Yeah,
we're suggesting?
yeah.
Jim, would you agree also?
Yeah, as it stands,
Okay.
from what they're offering. It might just be the opening, offer.
Well, the other part is we officially have not been offered anything. This is just something that has been on a sheet that has been shown to us. We have never received an official letter, ask, whatever. This is just what is being shown to us. So. All right,
I don't know that there would be another offer coming, because I don't know that they could do something different.
Well, they can't, because that was your point, when we
Right.
first had the conversation, like, what is actually feasible in order,
Right.
like legally.
Right, what can we do? We can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
A whole
This
15
seems to
acres,
be-
sure. I mean, we could do some.
Right, so
right,
that was
some
kind of
great
hard
fields and farms.
to have sat through that meeting. With a
Right.
promise
Right.
of the whole property when it was not even.
I'm not sure that they.
No, but it was unfortunate.
Right.
but. All right, any final comments in regards to Pollard? All right, if anything pops up, we'll keep you posted. Let us go back to our agenda. We have no policies to approve, no fees to approve, no special events.
Meeting minutes.
Meeting minutes.
No.
No, you. Jesus.
I'm like, oh, let's
All right.
open my head up, I'm like.
Gosh, all right, let us look at the minutes of the meeting of October 27th.
I have to, I think I have to.
Both you two.
So
So-
I would make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve the minutes of the October 27, 2025.
I will second that. And now we'll go to a vote. That will just be the three of us, myself, Jim, and Cindy. All those in favor of approving the minutes of October 27th, please say aye. Aye. Passes. All right.
I just showed you some cabinets.
I don't have time.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, going through anything else, kind of went through chairs updates, topic for future meetings, we talked about getting some numbers and things like that. Next meeting is scheduled for Monday, November 24th, tentatively.
I.
Right. Yeah, I'll choke up on that. Because there could be an all board summit again that night, so depending on what it is, we might have to meet earlier, we don't know yet. But there-
You never know, but if it's an all board summit, we're all invited.
Mhm,
It would be lovely to have.
Exactly.
I would
So-
love to go, but I would
Yes,
be out of town.
Stacy.
Would it be okay with the commission if I post an agenda for 6 PM in
That's-
the event that we do have that?
Yeah.
Because my fear is that it'll become very late and then we can't do it, and because we can cancel, but we can't add.
Sure. So I would say yes.
That's fixed.
I'll
We've
post it
been
at
to
6.
7.
In the event that we have to.
The all board summit at 6. The
It's
all
at
board
7.
summit, it's at 7, it's at 6.
Where is it?
Broad Meadow.
Oh, I see, so
Oh, is
ours
it-
would be.
Is it Broad Meadow? I think it is. Broad Meadow?
Ours be at 6.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, ours would be at 6
4th.
on the 24th.
The week of Thanksgiving.
the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there is
No,
no
well,
rest.
that's
on
it
this
for me,
rest.
I would like to go.
Where are you going?
New York,
All right, perfect.
New York to see family.
So, all right, so yes, if you could post a meeting to start at 6 o'clock on
And
Monday,
we'll
the
do that just-
24th.
And then we can always cancel.
Cover our
it.
bases.
I can actually zoom into our meeting.
Yes,
I can zoom into
Yes.
ours,
Yes,
but
of course you can.
obviously I can't
So,
do anything with the other, which
Okay.
I got.
anything else to build up?
No,
You sure? Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I mean. Oh,
just do it.
one at a second or whatever you wanna put.
God, Grace is probably pulling her hair out right now. All right, all those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes. Thank you all very much.